Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to do a deep dive into something that's been like blowing up my inbox lately. Mitolyn. It's this weight management supplement that claims to be all natural, and people seem to be really excited about it.
Yeah.
So to help you figure out if it's worth the hype, we've like dug through tons of information, reviews, FAQs from their website, like the whole 9 yards.
Well, what's interesting to me is that Mitolyn's really tapping into this growing trend of people wanting natural solutions for weight management,
Yeah.
Instead of harsh chemicals, they are promoting a plant-based formula, which definitely appeals to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I've got to admit, the idea of boosting my metabolism and burning fat naturally without, crazy diets or spending hours at the gym, it definitely piqued my interest.
Hmm.
They even claim it can give you more energy.
Right.
I mean, who wouldn't want that, right?
It's certainly a compelling idea. But before we get swept away by all the marketing, we need to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
Does Mitolyn really live up to these promises? And more importantly, what does the science say?
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me was the sheer volume of positive reviews.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking pages and pages of 5-star ratings and
Yeah.
people raving about how Mitolyn's has changed their lives.
Yeah.
Some even say it's helped them lose a significant amount of weight in a short period of time.
Yeah, positive reviews can be encouraging, but we have to be careful not to take them at face value.
Yeah.
Sometimes these reviews can be influenced by things like the placebo effect or even incentives from the company.
Right.
So while they might give us a glimpse into people's experiences, they're not a substitute for hard evidence.
That's a really good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
So to get a clearer picture, we also dove into the Mitolyn website, specifically their FAQ section. They seem to be pretty upfront about addressing some common questions people might have, like who should and shouldn't use it, how much to take, and whether it's safe.
It's good to see a company taking the initiative to be transparent, especially when it comes to something you're putting into your body. However, it's still crucial for anyone considering Mitolyn to consult with their healthcare provider before starting.
Yeah.
They can help you assess the potential risks and benefits based on your individual health profile and make sure it doesn't interact with any medications you might be taking.
Exactly. It's always better to err on the side of caution and get personalized advice from a professional.
Oh,
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what's actually in Mitolyn.
okay.
They're really pushing the fact that it's all natural and plant-based, and honestly, some of these ingredients sounded pretty intriguing, like green tea extract and Garcinia cambogia,
Uh-huh.
both of which I've heard can help with weight loss.
You're right. Those ingredients have been on the radar of the weight loss world for a while.
Mhm.
Green tea extract contains these powerful antioxidants called catechins, which some studies suggest can slightly increase metabolism. And Garcinia cambogia is known for hydroxycitric acid, or HCA, which some believe can help suppress appetite and block the formation of fat.
Okay, so there seems to be some scientific basis for these ingredients, but the skeptic in me wonders, are they using enough of these key ingredients in Mitolyn to actually make a difference?
That's a critical question, and this is where things get a little murky.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the exact dosage of each ingredient in Mitolyn isn't readily available on their website.
Okay.
Without that information, it's tough to know if the amounts they're using are enough to produce the effects they're claiming.
That's a little concerning, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're highlighting these potentially beneficial ingredients, but being evasive about how much of each one is actually in the product makes you wonder why they wouldn't be more transparent about that.
It does raise some eyebrows. Transparency is really the foundation of trust, especially when it comes to something you're ingesting.
Totally agree. Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits of some of the ingredients, but what about safety? Mitolyn makes a big deal about being all natural, implying that it's therefore safe, but is that always the case? Can't natural ingredients still have side effects or interact with other medications?
You're hitting on a common misconception.
Yeah.
Just because something is derived from nature, it doesn't automatically make it safe for everyone. Natural ingredients can still have potent effects, and they can definitely interact with certain medications or pre-existing health conditions.
So it's crucial to do your homework and talk to your doctor, even if a supplement claims to be all natural. Now, before we move on, there's one more thing I want to touch on, the money-back guarantee.
Okay.
Mitolyn offers a full refund if you're not happy with the product. That sounds pretty generous, right?
It's definitely a positive sign.
Yeah.
It shows that they stand behind their product and are confident enough to offer a refund if it doesn't meet your expectations. But, as with anything, it's important to read the fine print and understand the terms and conditions of the guarantee.
Right. There might be specific requirements you need to meet to qualify for the refund.
You're right.
Maybe you have to have used it for a certain length of time or have bought a certain quantity.
Exactly.
So always do your due diligence before making a purchase. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already, from glowing reviews to potential concerns about transparency and safety. What are your initial thoughts on Mitolyn so far?
Well, I appreciate that they're focusing on natural ingredients and offering a money-back guarantee. However, the lack of clarity about ingredient dosages and the absence of strong scientific evidence supporting their claims definitely raise some red flags for me.
I'm with you on that. It seems like there's potential, but there are also some unanswered questions that make me hesitant to give it a full thumbs up. But before we jump to any conclusions, let's shift gears and take a closer look at what people are actually saying about their experiences with Mitolyn.
Yes, let's dive into the world of user reviews and see if we can glean any insights from those who've actually tried the product.
All right, get ready for some real-life stories.
Wait, there are no breaks in this deep dive, remember?
Oh, right. Well, then let's jump right into those reviews.
Okay.
All right, so let's dig into these Mitolyn reviews and see what people are actually saying.
Mm.
As we mentioned, there are a ton of glowing testimonials out there. But are they too good to be true? What are we seeing in these reviews?
Well, a lot of the five-star reviews, they highlight a few key things.
Okay.
Many people report feeling more energized after taking Metabolin.
Okay.
They also mention a decrease in appetite, which, could definitely contribute to weight loss.
Right.
And some reviewers even claim to have lost a noticeable amount of weight within just a few weeks of starting Metabolin.
Okay, so some pretty impressive claims there.
Yeah.
It's definitely tempting to get caught up in all the positive hype, but to get a truly balanced view, we need to look at the less glowing feedback too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Were there any negative reviews that stood out?
There were definitely some less enthusiastic reviews, although they were outnumbered by the positive ones. Some users mentioned experiencing mild side effects like digestive issues, headaches, or jitters.
Okay.
Others expressed frustration because they didn't see the weight loss they were hoping for, even after using Metabolin consistently.
So it's clearly not a miracle cure for everyone. And it reinforces the idea that individual results can vary a lot.
Absolutely. It's also important to consider the source of these reviews.
Right?
Those posted directly on the Metabolin website might be more likely to be filtered or even incentivized.
Right.
To get a more unbiased perspective, it's worth checking out reviews on independent platforms like Reddit or consumer forums where people tend to be a bit more candid about their experiences.
That's a great tip. So remember, folks, take those glowing testimonials with a grain of salt and do some digging on those independent sites to see what real people are saying. Now, I'm curious about the science behind some of the specific claims Mitolyn makes. They talk a lot about boosting metabolism and promoting natural fat burning. What does the research actually say about these claims?
Well, that's where things get a bit more complex. While some plant-based ingredients have shown promise in preliminary studies for weight management, the evidence specifically for Mitolin's formula is a bit thin.
Okay.
Remember, supplement manufacturers aren't held to the same rigorous standards as pharmaceutical companies when it comes to proving the effectiveness of their products.
So that's where that healthy skepticism comes in. We can't just take their word for it.
Right.
We need to see some solid research to back up those claims. Let's go back to the ingredient list for a second. We touched on green tea extract and Garcinia cambogia earlier. Can you walk us through the science behind those ingredients in a little more detail?
Sure. Green tea extract has been studied quite a bit, and there's some evidence to suggest that the catechins it contains can have a modest effect on metabolism.
Okay.
One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that green tea extract, in combination with caffeine, led to a small increase in calorie expenditure and fat oxidation. However, the effect was relatively small, and more research is needed to determine its long-term impact on weight loss.
Okay, so a potential benefit, but maybe not a game changer on its own.
Right.
What about Garcinia cambogia? What does the research say about its potential for weight loss?
Garcinia cambogia has been a popular ingredient in weight loss supplements for a while, primarily due to its HCA content.
Right.
Some proponents believe that HCA can suppress appetite by increasing serotonin levels in the brain and block an enzyme called citrate lyase, which is involved in fat production.
Okay.
However, the research on HCA is mixed. Some studies have shown modest weight loss effects, while others have found no significant difference compared to a placebo.
So once again, the jury's still out.
Yeah.
It seems like more research is needed to determine whether Garcinia cambogia is truly effective for weight loss. Now, you mentioned that some studies on green tea extract combined it with caffeine.
Hmm.
Is caffeine one of the ingredients in Mitolyn?
That's a great question, and this is where the lack of transparency about ingredient dosages becomes problematic. While caffeine isn't specifically listed as an ingredient on the Mitolyn website, it's possible that it's present in one or more of the proprietary blends they use.
Right.
Without knowing the exact composition of those blends, it's impossible to say for sure.
Hmm. That's a bit concerning. If they're including caffeine, they should be upfront about it, especially considering it can have side effects for some people.
Right.
And it ties back into our earlier conversation about transparency.
Exactly. Consumers deserve to know exactly what they're putting into their bodies. And it's especially important for people who might be sensitive to caffeine or have conditions like heart problems or high blood pressure.
Okay, so full transparency about ingredients and dosages is definitely something we're advocating for. Now, I want to switch gears for a moment and talk about those before and after pictures that Mitolyn features on their website. I have to admit, those visuals can be pretty compelling.
Yeah.
It's always inspiring to see real people achieving the results they're after. But how much weight should we really give to these visuals?
While those before and after pictures can be motivating, it's crucial to remember that they're just a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
We don't know the full story behind those transformations. Did those individuals make other lifestyle changes, like diet or exercise, alongside taking Mitolyn? Were those pictures cherry-picked to showcase the most dramatic results?
That's a really good point. It's easy to get swept away by those attention-grabbing visuals, but we need to be critical and consider the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that everyone's body is different.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another. Genetics, metabolism, lifestyle choices, all of these things play a role in how our bodies respond to supplements.
So focusing on those individual stories can be misleading.
Right.
We need to look at the scientific evidence and remember that anecdotal evidence is just that, anecdotal.
Exactly. And that's why we're here to help you navigate through the hype and make informed decisions about your health and wellness.
Well said. Okay, so we've delved into the claims, the ingredients, the reviews, and even the visual evidence. I think we have a pretty solid understanding of Mitolyn at this point. What are your final thoughts? Is it worth trying?
Honestly, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. There are some potentially beneficial ingredients, and the money-back guarantee is a plus. But the lack of transparency about dosages and the limited scientific evidence to support some of their bolder claims make me hesitant.
I'm inclined to agree. It seems like there's potential, but there are also some red flags that we can't ignore.
And let's not forget that no supplement can replace a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
Diet, exercise, stress management, these are still the cornerstones of sustainable weight management.
Absolutely. Mitolyn, if you decide to try it, should be seen as a potential tool in your toolbox, not a magic bullet.
Well put. And remember, always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions or taking medications.
Great advice. Okay, I think we've covered just about everything. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap things up?
Just a reminder that knowledge is power. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to make decisions about your health and well-being.
So we've spent a lot of time dissecting Mitolyn, examining the claims, ingredients, and what users are saying. I think we've painted a pretty thorough picture of this supplement. But before we wrap up, I'm curious, what are some things people should keep in mind if they're considering trying Mitolyn? What advice would you give to our listeners?
That's a great question. I think the first piece of advice is to be realistic about your expectations. Mitolyn is not a magic pill, you know.
Right.
It's not going to melt away fat overnight or suddenly transform you into a completely different person.
Right. It's important to approach any supplement with a healthy dose of realism.
Exactly. And that leads me to my second point. Don't rely solely on Mitolyn for weight management. Remember those cornerstones we talked about? Diet, exercise, stress management. These are still the most crucial factors for achieving sustainable weight loss and overall well-being.
So if you do decide to try Mitolyn, see it as a potential supplement to your healthy lifestyle, not replacement for it.
Precisely. Now, this next piece of advice is especially important. Always consult with your healthcare provider before starting Mitolyn or any new supplement for that matter.
Yeah.
They can help you assess whether it's safe for you, considering your individual health history and any medications you're taking.
Definitely sound advice. It's never a bad idea to get personalized guidance from a medical professional.
Right. And finally, be an informed consumer.
Yeah.
Do your research, read reviews from multiple sources, and don't be swayed by hype or marketing claims. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health.
Well said. It's so important to be an active participant in your own health journey.
Yeah.
Great. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Just a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to weight management.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another. And it's often a journey of trial and error, finding what works best for your individual needs and lifestyle.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've officially reached the bottom of this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of Mitolyn. We hope you found it insightful and empowering.
And remember, stay curious and keep asking questions on your path to better health.
Excellent advice. And as always, be sure to check out the episode description for additional resources and links to other deep dives we've done. Until next time, stay informed and stay healthy.